Vintage electronics provide a fascinating look into the history of technological innovation. Early personal computers, cassette players, radios, gaming consoles, VCRs, and CRT televisions helped transform how people worked, communicated, learned, and enjoyed entertainment. Although these devices may now seem outdated, their importance has not disappeared. Some continue to hold historical, educational, or collectible value, while others contain reusable components and recoverable materials that can support future manufacturing. Vintage electronics are more than old machines taking up space in a basement, attic, garage, or warehouse. Each device represents the technology, manufacturing methods, and priorities of its time. Many older products were built with large components, accessible internal assemblies, and durable housings. Their construction tells us how engineers solved problems before today's compact processors, wireless connections, and lightweight materials became common. Nostalgia also plays a role in how people view these devices. A family radio, childhood gaming console, or first computer may carry strong personal memories. However, emotional attachment can sometimes cause electronics to remain stored long after they stop working. Before throwing anything away, owners should determine whether a device can be preserved, repaired, donated, reused, or dismantled for compatible parts. Recycling should generally be considered after these possibilities have been carefully evaluated. Every vintage electronic device is a carefully engineered combination of materials and components. Inside the exterior housing, there may be printed circuit boards, wiring, connectors, switches, transformers, motors, power supplies, cooling systems, and numerous small electronic parts. Printed circuit boards connect the components responsible for processing information and controlling the device. Copper pathways allow power and electrical signals to travel between processors, memory components, switches, and other assemblies. Electrical wiring is also found throughout older equipment. Copper may be present in power cords, internal cables, motors, coils, and transformers. When these materials are carefully separated, they can remain useful instead of being lost through improper disposal. VCRs, cassette players, printers, disk drives, and record players may also contain motors, gears, rollers, belts, and other mechanical components. Even when an entire device no longer works, some of these parts may still support repairs or restoration projects. CRT televisions and computer monitors require additional attention because they contain large, heavy glass display tubes. These devices should remain intact and should never be carelessly broken or placed in ordinary recycling containers. Plastic housings, metal frames, glass panels, ceramic pieces, and electronic assemblies must all be handled according to their individual characteristics. This is why vintage electronics should be treated as specialized equipment rather than ordinary household trash. A device can become obsolete while many of its internal materials remain useful. Copper, steel, aluminum, and other specialized metals were selected because of their conductivity, durability, strength, or resistance to corrosion. Copper is commonly found in wiring, circuit boards, transformers, motors, and power cords. Steel and aluminum may be present in frames, brackets, panels, heat sinks, and protective housings. Connectors, processors, memory components, and switches may contain smaller quantities of specialized materials. The recoverable amount inside one device may appear modest. However, when large quantities of obsolete electronics are properly processed, the combined resource value can become substantial. Recovering existing materials supplements the resources required for future manufacturing. It also prevents useful materials from remaining indefinitely in storage or being lost through improper disposal. Older electronics were often designed very differently from modern devices. Their components were generally larger, and many systems could be opened for servicing. Screws, removable panels, replaceable modules, and detailed service manuals allowed technicians to reach internal assemblies and diagnose problems. As manufacturing improved, electronics became smaller, lighter, and more efficient. Greater processing power could be placed inside increasingly compact products, while integrated components reduced the amount of space and material required for many functions. These design differences affect how equipment must be repaired, dismantled, transported, and recycled. A method that works for an early personal computer may not be suitable for a CRT television, radio, or modern mobile device. Licensed recyclers can help identify appropriate handling and recovery procedures for different generations and categories of electronic equipment. Before vintage electronics are dismantled, their historical significance should be considered. Rare computers, early gaming systems, unique audio equipment, and historically important communication devices may represent milestones in technological development. Condition, rarity, manufacturing date, and completeness can all influence whether an item deserves preservation. Original manuals, controllers, cables, software, and packaging may increase both its usefulness and historical value. Museums may use preserved devices to explain how people interacted with earlier technology. Schools can use functional retro equipment to teach lessons about engineering, computing, media, communications, and design. Collectors and restoration specialists may also recognize value in products that appear useless to an average owner. Not every old device is rare or valuable simply because of its age. Researching the manufacturer, model number, production period, and current condition can help determine whether preservation is practical. Functional equipment may continue serving its original purpose or find a new role in an exhibit, classroom, hobby project, theater production, or specialized application. Routine maintenance can extend the life of older devices. Cleaning, careful storage, ventilation, and timely repairs may prevent minor problems from developing into permanent failures. When a complete device cannot be restored, individual components may remain valuable. Transformers, motors, cooling fans, switches, connectors, power supplies, and electronic assemblies may help repair similar equipment. Restoration specialists often depend on donor devices because manufacturers may have discontinued original replacement parts decades ago. Recovering compatible components can keep rare equipment operational without requiring newly manufactured replacement. However, components should only be saved when there is a realistic future use. Keeping unidentified parts without organization can create more clutter. Reusable parts should be safely removed, accurately labeled, and stored under suitable conditions. Many households, businesses, and institutions have accumulated older electronics over several years. An organized inventory is one of the most effective ways to decide what should happen to these devices. Begin by locating electronics in basements, attics, garages, offices, closets, storage rooms, and warehouses. Include loose power supplies, cables, controllers, software, manuals, and accessories. Record each device's manufacturer, model number, condition, approximate age, and location. Photographs can help document equipment without repeatedly moving heavy or fragile items. Separate working devices from non-working ones. Functional equipment may be appropriate for continued use, donation, resale, or preservation. Damaged items should be evaluated for repair, component recovery, or responsible recycling. Inspect equipment for broken glass, corrosion, moisture damage, exposed wiring, leaking components, or swollen batteries. Items showing signs of damage should be isolated and handled with additional caution. CRT televisions, monitors, and large audio systems can be extremely heavy. Their size, shape, and fragile internal components make improper lifting dangerous. Before moving equipment, evaluate its weight, available grip points, nearby stairs, narrow doorways, and transportation route. Use dollies, carts, lifting straps, or team lifting when necessary. Power cords should be secured to prevent tripping, and small accessories should be packed and labeled. Fragile equipment should be kept upright and protected from impacts. During transportation, devices should be stabilized with straps, padding, pallets, or sturdy containers. Equipment should never be stacked in a way that puts excessive pressure on screens, glass tubes, or fragile housings. Licensed recyclers should be contacted before delivering large quantities or unusual devices. Confirming what they accept and how equipment should be prepared can prevent delays and unsafe handling. Eventually, some vintage electronics become too damaged, incomplete, or deteriorated for continued use. When preservation, donation, repair, and component reuse are no longer practical, responsible recycling becomes the appropriate next step. Sorting equipment by category can make inspection and processing more efficient. Computers, audio equipment, gaming systems, small devices, and CRT displays may all require different procedures. Licensed recyclers can direct these items into suitable handling and material recovery processes. Keeping equipment intact and organized helps preserve recoverable resources and reduces the risk created by uncontrolled breakage. Responsible recycling also frees valuable storage space. Homes, schools, offices, and warehouses can reclaim areas that were previously filled with obsolete and unidentified equipment. The effect of recycling becomes more significant when communities participate collectively. One device may contain a limited quantity of recoverable material, but thousands of responsibly managed devices can return meaningful resources to productive use. A successful disposal plan begins with evaluation. Determine whether equipment is functional, repairable, collectible, historically significant, suitable for parts, or truly at the end of its useful life. Preserve historically important items. Continue using equipment that remains safe and practical. Repair devices when their value and usefulness justify the effort. Recover compatible parts when they can support realistic restoration needs. Prepare remaining equipment according to the instructions of the receiving licensed recycler. Keep fragile items separate, secure loose cords and accessories, and document quantities during large commercial or institutional cleanouts. Most importantly, do not allow obsolete electronics to accumulate indefinitely. Regular inventories and scheduled cleanouts encourage timely decisions before equipment deteriorates or becomes difficult to identify. Vintage electronics connect the history of technological innovation with the future of resource conservation. Preservation protects rare and meaningful examples of past achievement. Continued use and repair extend product life cycles. Component recovery supports equipment that no longer has manufacturer support. Responsible recycling allows valuable materials to return to productive use. Every owner can contribute to this process. Households can evaluate the electronics stored in their homes. Businesses and institutions can create consistent procedures for managing obsolete equipment. Collectors, schools, museums, repair specialists, and licensed recyclers can work together to find the most appropriate destination for each device. The strongest approach is a balanced one. Preserve what tells an important story, reuse or repair what remains practical, and responsibly recycle equipment that has truly reached the end of its useful life. If you have vintage computers, televisions, radios, VCRs, gaming systems, audio equipment, or other obsolete electronics, contact us to discuss your recycling needs. Reach us by phone, email, or through our website. Our team can help you plan an organized and responsible approach for managing vintage electronics and retro technology. Honor the technology of the past by giving its valuable resources a responsible future.